We're going to call this the May meeting of the Lenore County Board of Education to order. We'll recognize Mr. Williams for the invocation.
Let us pray. May the words spoken in this room tonight be beneficial to the students, parents, staff, and administrators in our school system, and may we be led by the guiding principle to always base our decisions on the best interests of our young people. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Williams will present the agenda for this evening.
We've submitted the agenda for your review and approval.
Motion to approve the board agenda as presented.
Motion by Mr. Hill. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. Any further discussion about the agenda for this evening? And all in favor, raise your right hand. The agenda is approved. Next item is the board chair comments. I don't have a lot of comments tonight. We did spend some time the last couple of weeks meeting with our county commissioners, meeting with the county manager and his staff last week. I want to thank Mr. Williams and Ms. Davis for getting that presentation together. We met with Mr. Jarman's himself and his staff for a couple hours last week, and they listened to all of our concerns about capital and some of the funding changes we've had. We felt like that we were received very well by the county. We also Mr. Williams made a very nice presentation to the county commissioners this morning. We have asked for a little bit of additional funding to try to help us with our low wealth cuts, and we're optimistic they may be coming through for us this year. They don't make any promises, but if you see any of our county commissioners, encourage them. We could really use a little help this year in particular. Next item is the superintendent's announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would first like to echo what Chairman Sargent said about our legislators and our county commissioners and the building positive relationship with both groups. We had a few days ago, we had an outstanding legislative breakfast. That breakfast has resulted in, we had a meeting today with both of the state senators who represent us. They came here to the office to meet. We have a meeting set up with another superintendent, and I are meeting with one of our representatives on Wednesday. So we feel very good, and Mr. Holmes is setting up a meeting with the fourth member of our legislative team and a panel of folks to tour some of our schools. So four representatives not only present but also participating in the process of working to build and increase positive and effective communication. So we're very pleased by that, and we thank them. So it's a very positive step forward, I think, for our district, and we hope that you'll see that collaboration result in some positive things. Okay, Tuesday, May 3rd is National Appreciation Day, embedded in National Teacher Appreciation Week. Many of our schools in Lenore County celebrate not only National Teacher Appreciation Day a week, but also National School Staff Appreciation Week. And so they've changed it into a celebration for every school staff member, and we celebrate that as well. We do want to thank the outstanding and amazing educators who are in our classrooms serving children every day. And really, that is the essence of what we do, teaching and learning and serving our children. So thank you to our teachers and other staff members who work so hard every day to make meaningful learning experiences for children a daily reality. We really appreciate that. Exceptional Children's Awards Night is Tuesday, May 17th, our second annual event of that type. Our EC team has worked hard to put that together. We're very pleased by that. We think it's a positive step forward. May 17th, 6 p.m. at Kinston High School Performing Arts Center. We hope that you can come out and join us. A Special Olympics celebration will be Friday, May 20th at 9:30 a.m. Kinston High School football field. A lot of fun and festivities and recognition for our children. It's a great, great and very moving event. Lenore County Public Schools held its annual School Bus Drivers Rodeo on Friday, April the 22nd. The winners were as follows. First place, Phyllis Swenson from LaGrange Elementary School. Congratulations to Mrs. Swenson. They added some new components to that with the maze that they had to drive through. It was truly exciting to see them. It was a good opportunity to fellowship and do something different for our drivers. Second place, Miss Bethany Bridwell from Northwest Elementary. Congratulations to her. Third place, Miss Mary Davis from Frink Middle School. On April 28th, Bethany Bridwell placed 10th in the District 4 rodeo competition held at the Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville, North Carolina. She will advance to the NC State Fairgrounds to compete in the state competition on Thursday, May the 12th, 2016. If you see Mrs. Bridwell, please congratulate her. Our Future Farmers of America chapter at Catania Savannah K-8 school was awarded $500 by the National FFA organization as part of the Hunger Heroes Mini Grants program. The CSS students plan to help fight hunger by purchasing food items to prepare at Mary's Kitchen in Kinston, where they volunteer one Sunday a month. That concludes my comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. The next item is public comment. And I understand we do not have anyone signed up this evening, so we'll move to the presentation portion of our agenda, the ILCPS update. Ms. Collin.
Okay, well, it's getting close to summer, and a lot of teachers are getting ready to power down for the summer. Lenore County Public School teachers will be powering up with Summer Institute. You may remember Summer Institute last year had, it was a digital learning focus, very much like a conference. This year it will be held at South Lenore High School, and the date is June 14th, 2016. There will be over 40 sessions on this one day. So with our 40 sessions, we'll be able to appeal to different content areas for teachers, ability levels, grade levels, and interests. So let the learning begin on June 14th, and please know that you are invited. And if you would like to come, let us know, and we'll make sure you get the schedule so that you can pick out what classes you'd like to take. Do you have any questions?
Who's teaching the sessions?
It's a combination of digital learning specialists, teachers. We have high school teachers, middle school teachers, elementary. We have some of the vendors that we use, like eBackpack and Canvas, that will be coming in and doing some training. So it'll be a wide range of professionals.
Any questions for Ms. Colley tonight? All right. Thank you very much. Next item is our instructional services update. Ms. Dunn.
Mrs. Harris, come up with me. Good evening.
Good evening.
The Instructional Services Department has been extremely busy for the past couple of months. And tonight, Mrs. Herring and I are going to provide you with an update of our activities. We're going to start first with something that we've been talking about as we've been discussing some of the implementation projects that needed to take place in moving forward in our curriculum and instructional department. The North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, they have something called priority standards. Priority standards are those standards that students are expected to learn and teachers are expected to teach. But what's important about these standards is that they carry different amounts of weight. Some standards and objectives carry more weight than others. And in trying to end the school year with a strong finish, Mr. Williams gave the directive that we needed to create some pacing guides that focused entirely on the priority standards for the last 40 days of the school year, so that teachers could focus mainly on what would be tested, because those things carry the most weight. And if students are successful on those objectives that carry the most weight, then we are very likely to see increased growth. So that's what we did. The priority standards, or the Focus Finish project, included 6 weeks of instructional lesson plans. Again, they were geared towards solely those priority standards that carried the most weight on EOG and EOC tests. We created instructional pacing guides for grades 3 through 12 in the subject areas that would be tested, all except for science. We did not do science for 5th grade. Again, we wanted to lead up to a strong finish to the end of grade test and also give our students an opportunity to maximize their growth on the EOG. This is an example. I don't know if you can make that a little bigger for them, but this is an example of what we mean by the weight distributions of the priority standards. We have one for ELA, one for math, and also one for science. I just put an example here for you to see. If you'll look at this chart, you'll see that we have grades 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is for math. And then we also have the chart that includes math 1. If we'll just go back up real quickly. Okay. We want to go back to that chart. Okay, here we are. If you'll look, you'll see that the domain tells you the overall standard. And under each standard, you have several different objectives. You'll see under operations and algebraic thinking in grades 3, 4, and 5. And looking down in each grade level, you can see what objective or what priority carries the most weight. And if you look at grade 3 for math, you'll see that operations and algebraic thinking counts for 30 to 35% of the entire math test. So when we designed these guides, that's the approach that we took. We looked at that objective that carried the most weight. And so our pacing guides were created around this. Now, we did not ignore the others, but we focused heavily on the ones that carried the most weight. And if you look across at grade 4, you'll see that number and operations and fractions carry the most weight. So most of that test in math for 4th grade will center around number and operations and fractions. Also, looking at 5th grade, number and operations and fractions counts for up to 52% of the end of grade test. That's over half of the test. And so our thinking is and this is what we should be doing all year anyway, but as a really good strong end of the year, leading up to the end of grade test, if we focus on these objectives that carry the most weight, hopefully that will increase our students' opportunity for more growth. And we did that across all of the grade levels, 3 through 12, and in all of the tested subject areas in EOG and the EOC test. There's one for ELA and there's also one for science, but I just put one in here for you as an example. Okay? And I've really said all of that, why we did it, how we did it, what grades it focuses on, and the implementation began April 18th. So we have been using these pacing guides for almost 2 full weeks now. And also within the pacing guide, you can go to the next slide, we have built in, we have built in components. It's a district-wide template was used, so every school, regardless of the grade or the subject area, they all had the same template district-wide for the pacing guides. We included in our pacing guides instructional resources that were optional, but we wanted to make sure that our beginning teachers or any teacher had something that they could pull from. We had resources, and we also had instructional links that they could just put their mouse on and click, and it would take them to that instructional link. We also included a mini lesson for each objective, and we have 2 to 3 formative assessments that are district-wide. That means that all the schools and all the grade levels will complete 2 or 3 district-wide formative assessments using SchoolNet, and we'll be able to disaggregate that information and provide them with the data on how well their students are doing on those priority standards. I want to talk to you just a few minutes about how we selected the teachers to work on this. We selected 27 master teachers from across the district. And we looked at teachers in grades 3 through 5 for reading and math, and grades 9 through 12 for English, biology, and math. The selection process was very rigorous. We looked at every single teacher in this county, their EVOS data, in grades 3, 4, and 5. And the EVOS data shows you the teacher's instructional impact on student achievement in a classroom in a given year. We are comparing apples to apples because we're looking at teachers' data who have children with like testing scores and testing histories throughout the state. So we're not comparing children who are academically gifted and high performing in all areas to other students who are not. We're comparing children with similar testing scores and testing histories. So it's a pretty fair process. We looked at the EVOS data over a period of 1 year, or if they had it up to 3 years. It depends, based on how long the teacher has been teaching and how long they have been teaching a grade that we could gather data from, a testing grade. We looked at every single teacher, each one. And we were able to come up with 27 master teachers from across the district whose EVOS data was above and beyond. We wanted everyone to make growth, but we really focused on those teachers who exceeded growth. And those would be the teachers who were in the area of the blue, the range of blue. We were so adamant about choosing the best of the best that we had some subject areas where some teachers had to work on 2 subjects or 2 grade levels because we refused to lower the standards of what we wanted, of who we wanted to create these guys. So out of all the teachers that we looked at in grades 3, 4, and 5, 27 teachers had the EVOS data that we felt really would warrant the end product that we were looking for. We started the training immediately. We had a full day work session with, I did the workshop for the work session. The teachers had to do a lot of work on their own outside of the school day because we really had a quick turnaround. We only had 1 day that we could work with them. They also worked on the early out day, and also they worked on the teacher work day. Because there was an extensive amount of work that had to be done on their own time, they had to work on this outside of the school day. They were paid a $500 to $750 stipend. $750 if they had to work on more than 1 grade level or more than 1 subject. And so those guys were finished. The teachers were really excited about the process. And we've had some little glitches that we've had to work through, but we've implemented them, and I'm anxious to see what the test results will look like. Are there any questions about the Focus Finish documents? Okay. All right, well, we will go on and to our next presentation, which is Advanced Ed. Okay. As you know, Lenore County Public Schools recently went through the accreditation process known as Advanced Ed. This process is a very rigorous process where we had to submit written documents about our district. We also had to set up interviews with stakeholders in the community, board members, parents, teachers, students. We also had 3 of our schools to have visits from the Advanced Ed team. And during their visits, they were able to do real-time observation data. They went in, they did 20-minute observations, they did a total of 54 observations. 16 members went to 6 schools. And we had a total of 16 members, 2 at each school, for a total of 54 observations that we were able to get real-time data from. And that was very, very powerful findings. So let's talk a little bit about what the Advanced Ed team found or discovered during their 3-day visit. One thing that they, after looking at all the evidence that we presented, they have suggested that we design and implement a research-based and data-driven instructional improvement plan, demonstrating evidence of active involvement and input of school and system instructional staff. And so that's what we've been doing with our low performing schools plan, district plan. all of the objectives and all of the action strategies and action steps that we have in that plan do address research-based and data-driven instructional improvement strategies. They also suggested that we develop a focused professional development plan, ensuring that we have alignment with the district improvement plan, as well as methods for monitoring the effectiveness and participation of our PD. We have a lot of PD, but they want us to narrow it based on what our school district and schools' needs are. And finally, they suggested that we engage all of our stakeholders, including our parents and our students and our business leaders, community agencies, in the development of the multiple ways of how we improve our school system to ensure the collaboration is there. During the discussion, I think it was determined that not all parents and stakeholders felt that they had adequate input into what we do in our district, and so that's something that they have suggested that we work on. Also, the fourth finding is that we develop and implement and monitor a long-range strategic plan, which we are in the process of beginning to work on that. But again, our district-wide local performing instructional plan does address a lot of the actions that they've recommended. And so we have addressed those in that plan, so that was good to know. And finally, what's most important out of all of this is that the external review team recommends to the Advanced Ed Accreditation Commission that Lenore County Public Schools earn the distinction of accreditation by Advanced Ed. We are performing at a level that's comparable of other districts in the country in order to get this recommendation. We won't receive it until I think it's July 1, I think, but we have been recommended for accreditation, so that's good.
I believe it's June 1st that it's approved, right, Chuck? Is it June 1st that it's approved?
I think that was probably closer to.
I think it's June 1st.
June 1st. And that's all that we have from the Instructional Services Department. And we'll entertain any questions that you might have. Okay. All right. Well,
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn.
Thank you.
Next item is the financial report. Ms. Davis. I know you've had a busy week, and it's only Monday.
Only Monday. The financial report, it reflects the year-to-date activity by providing the revenue and expenditure information as to all the sources of funds received and expended by fund and purpose as of April 30, 2016. May I answer any questions?
Questions for Ms. Davis this evening? All right, thank you. Next item is E-rate support for infrastructure upgrades. Mr. Decker.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I provided background information in your packet about the E-rate support going forward this year. Does anyone have any questions about the information provided?
Any questions for Mr. Decker? All right, thank you. Appreciate that information. We'll move to the action portion of our agenda. The first item is Lenore Community College Board of Trustees appointment. Mr. Williams.
Yes, Dr. Brantley Briley, president of Lenore Community College, has submitted a request to reappoint Rod D. Evans to the LCC Board of Trustees for another 4-year term. The current term expires on June 30th, 2016.
And I'll say that I've spoken to Mr. Evans, and he very much enjoyed serving on the LCC board, and he would very much like to be reappointed. I did not know him prior to him contacting me, but I got a chance to talk to him. I knew him by reputation, but I didn't know him personally. He also offered that he provide any information the board wanted if we needed anything from him.
How many appointments do we have on that?
I believe we have 2, is my understanding. Or maybe we could have 3, but is it 3? I know Tommy White serves in one. It seems in the time I've been in here, we reappointed another gentleman to another post. And I think this may be our 3rd one.
Wasn't Herman part of that group too, was he? I don't know, I'm fine with, because they seem to be doing a good job, so I just wanted to know how many we had up there. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we'll entertain a motion to reappoint him if someone wants to make one.
Motion to reappoint Roger Evans to the Lenore County Board of Trustees for another 4-year term.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. King. Any further discussion about the appointment? And all in favor, raise your right hand. He is reappointed. Next item is the lease agreement for North Lenore High School's athletic field. Mr. Williams.
At North Lenore, they have a practice field adjacent to their athletics facilities, adjacent to the football field, actually. That's a 10-acre tract of land that for a number of years they have leased from the Creech family. And we were contacted by the Perry Law Firm representing the Creeches and notified that the contract was nearing an end and that the 5-year renewal cycle was up, and the school, they communicated with the school first, and the school certainly is interested in renewing that contract. And tonight we're bringing it to you for your consideration and approval.
That's a 5-year contract.
It is.
How long have we been leasing that?
I believe this is at least the 3rd cycle, if not the 4th.
It's about 15 years. It's a quite good time for that.
This is essentially the same lease that was approved 5 years ago. It hasn't changed.
It's virtually identical.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
we
goes to
did,
the county commissioners because of the length of lease. Any lease over 3 years is required to be approved by the county commissioners.
and the board did approve it last cycle at least. We've been able to go back that far, and we did submit it to Carolyn, and Tharrington Smith reviewed this and made suggestions for changes, and those changes were made, and it's reflected in what you see tonight. And the school has existing funds to pay this lease, and they've been paying it, I think, from Booster Club funds.
Yeah, Booster Club pays it. Booster Club pays this.
Okay. Move to approve the lease between John Creech, North Lenore, for the use of the field, of the property.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. King. Any further discussion about the lease agreement? Then all in favor, raise your right hand. The lease is approved. Next item is the academically or intellectually gifted plan for 2016 through 2019. Ms. Cawley.
The new plan was presented and submitted for review at the April 4th board meeting. It is asked tonight that it be approved by the board. Are there any questions regarding the plan?
This is the same plan we've reviewed last
Yes.
month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Move to approve the AIG plan for 2016-19.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Hill. Any discussion? And all in favor of approving the plan, raise your right hand. It is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Collar. Next item is the Exceptional Children Contract Amendment. Ms. Roach.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You have the background information in terms of the request We started off the year with the contract for $75,000 with psychological services. We did an amendment for $25,000, and now we're asking you to approve a contract for $165,000. And the reason being, we have about 100 more students that we have to test before the end of the year, and the cost for the psychologicals, or the length of the psychologicals, have increased in time, so that is the cost that we're asking for to cover.
Is that cost per pupil, per evaluation?
Per evaluation, depending on which evaluations you do, it runs anywhere from $750 to $1,250 per student.
In the wrong field.
Ms. Davis, are we prepared to handle that?
It will be coming out of EC budget. Yes, we do have the money.
It's budgeted in the EC funds.
Yes.
Doesn't require any local anything like that.
No local money.
No local money, no, sir.
Are we're mandated to do these
Yeah,
evaluations?
even if it did, it wouldn't matter.
So what has happened?
We don't really have a choice. We have to do
We
these
don't really have a
evaluations.
choice.
So you might as well approve it.
It's a mandate.
When you say there's approximately 100 more students, does that mean we've got 100 more students to evaluate, or we?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 100
Yes,
more
sir.
to evaluate.
Right now. That doesn't count the parent requests that we may have coming in between now and the end of the year. These are from SST referrals from the different schools.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Anderson, second by Mr. Nobles to approve the amendment to the exceptional children's contract. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. It is approved. Thank you, Ms. Rogers. Next item is a resolution to sell the South Lenore High School residential building. Leslie Rouse.
Good evening. Every year, our Carpentry 1, 2, and 3 students at South Lenore High School build a house that is auctioned off at the end of the school year. Tonight, we ask that you approve the resolution for us to auction off the house on June 25th, 2016. Do you have any questions?
Well, we certainly thank South Lenore High School students for doing a good job on this house, such that there is one to auction off.
And if any profits are generated, of course, they go back into the program.
Sure.
Motion to approve the resolution to sell the student-built house at South Lenore High School.
All right, motion by Mr. Hill,
Second.
second by Mr. Nobles. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, the resolution is approved. Thank you, ma'am. And you're going to stay with us, obviously, for an application for federal funding. Usually people run away as fast as they can when it's over.
Tonight, I bring forward an action item for you to approve our annual request for applying for federal funds for the 2016-2017 school year. This funding provides additional instructional activities and other services to help children and teachers meet high standards as set forth in the Every Student Succeed Act of 2015. Do you have any questions?
Can't see why we wouldn't approve. Asking for more money. Move to approve the application for federal funding.
Second.
All right, motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Davis. Any discussion on the application for federal funding? And all in favor, raise your right hand. It is approved.
Thank you.
The last item on the action agenda is the driver's education contract for the 2016-2017 school year.
As Mrs. Ball is coming forward to present, let me preface what she's about to say by just going back and recapping over last year. Last year at this time, heading into the legislative session, we had an unknown with regard to driver education and a lot of other things. But in approving their 2-year budget, the members of the General Assembly did approve driver education for the state for this current school year and the upcoming school year. Now, this short session, maybe they'll do something with that or take it up. I'm not sure where that'll head. I suspect that it really won't be addressed this year, but maybe next year. You know, it was a very contentious issue last year and very much in question until the 11th hour, as they say. But funding is in place to cover this school year, so we felt comfortable in bringing the contract for with Jordan's Driving School to you tonight. Ms. Ball.
You received a renewal contract with Jordan's Driving School of the Carolinas to provide driver's education services to Lenore County Public School students. The contract is a one-year contract with Jordan's Driving School. There are no changes in this proposed contract for the 2016-17 school year. Lenore County has been very pleased with the services that have been provided by the Jordan's Driving School of the Carolinas. I am requesting that you renew Jordan's Driving School of the Carolinas contract with the contract for the 2016-17 school year. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have about the contract.
Move to approve the contract.
All right, motion by Mr. Noble, second by Mr. Hill. Any further discussion on the contract? For all in favor, raise your right hand. Contract is approved.
Thank you.
Next, we'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I move that the Lenore County Board of Education go into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to prevent disclosure of confidential personnel files, to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege and to consider matters relating to initial employment of an individual employee.
Motion to go into closed session by Mr. Hill,
Second.
second by Mr. Nobles. All in favor going into closed session, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. Back in open session, and do we need to entertain an amendment to the personnel report? Is that
Amendment to the addendum, I believe.
the amendment to the addendum to the personnel report?
I would,
Mr. Williams?
yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to request that we amend the addendum to the personnel report to reflect a change in the associate superintendent's contract. It says all of those contracts will start July 1st, and that contract will need to start earlier, so I'm respectfully requesting that we change that with a start date of May 3rd, 2016.
To midnight tonight, is that? Okay, wow. And that is for the associate superintendent?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. So do we need to do that by a motion in open session?
Yes, if you have a motion to amend the addendum as reflected.
Okay, well, we'll entertain a motion to amend the addendum as requested. Do we have one?
Motion to
Amend the addendum.
as requested, yes.
Motion by Mr. Hill. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nobles. All in favor of amending the addendum as requested by Mr. Williams, raise your right hand. All opposed? The amendment to the addendum passes.
And now we actually need a motion to approve.
Now we're entertaining a motion to approve the personnel recommendations, including the monthly report, annual report, and personnel addendum.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the monthly personnel, annual personnel, and the addendum with the amendment as presented.
All right. Motion by Mr. Hill. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nobles. All in favor of approving those reports as stated, raise your right hand. All opposed? They are approved. Mr. Williams, you have an announcement for us?
Yes, sir. It's with great pleasure that I'd like to announce the filling of several administrative vacancies. We have 5 of them, and I'll recognize them, and we can recognize I'll name them, and we can recognize them individually. First, for Rochelle Middle School, our new principal of Rochelle Middle School, Mrs. Keisha Dunn. Let's congratulate Ms. Dunn. Secondary Education Director and Career and Technical Education Director, Ms. Amy Jones, current principal of Contentnia Savannah School. Congratulations. Director of Federal Programs, Lenore County Public Schools, Ms. Tina Letchworth, current principal of Kinston High School. Congratulations, Ms. Letchworth. Assistant Superintendent for Operations and Student Services, Mr. Nicholas Harvey. Congratulations, Mr. Harvey. Associate Superintendent for Instruction, Ms. Frances Herring. Congratulations, Ms. Herring.
All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. Next matter is adjournment.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Anderson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis first. All in favor of adjournment, raise your right hand. We are now adjourned. Thank you.